Superman is one of the most popular and instantly recognisable figures in fiction, and since the Man of Steel leapt onto the pages of comic books in a single bound back in 1938, he's been the star of a near endless amount of movies, television series, video games, and radio shows. And as a result of this, each generation since the 1940s has had their own Superman, whether it's George Reeves, Dean Cain, Henry Cavill, or perhaps the most famous take on the character, Christopher Reeve Superman of the 1970s and 80s. However, with so many different actors donning the blue and red tights over the years, a strange pattern has begun to emerge, one where many actors who played the Man of Tomorrow have found themselves suffering terrible accidents and grave misfortunes later on in their careers. And...
Hey, Owen! So, I could have swore I heard you talking about all of the different Supermen. Do you know there's a Superman curse?
Hey, Jay. I mean, yeah, that's what this whole video's about. Wait a second. How did you hear me? You live all the way in...
While this theory has definitely gained steam over the past few decades, there's a lot more to unpack here than meets the eye. Is the Man of Steel a cursed role? Well, in order to find out, we're going to look back at every actor who's previously donned the famous red underpants, and also Henry Cavill, and also figures who've had an instrumental role in shaping the character we know today, and try to work out whether or not the supposed curse affected them. Kirk Alyn was the first actor to ever portray the Man of Steel in live action, starring in two film serials, 1948's Superman and its 1950 sequel, Atom Man vs. Superman. Alyn's early portrayals as the last son of Krypton very much set the precedent for what a live-action Superman would be like, presenting his superhuman abilities through a mix of wires and his own background in dance. However, Columbia Pictures canceled his Superman series in 1951, and Alyn struggled to shake off the looming blue and red shadow, with the actor ultimately blaming the role for ruining his career. And while Alyn did later cameo in 1978's Superman the Movie, playing the father of Lois Lane, he never received another role quite like Superman, and died March 14, 1999, at age 88.
Possibly the most well-known example of the Superman curse is that of George Reeves, the actor who portrayed the hero in the 1950s Adventures of Superman TV series. Beginning in 1951 with the movie Superman and the Mole Man, the first ever theatrical film to be based on a DC character, Reeves donned the famous costume for 6 years, appearing in 104 episodes as the iconic character. The show, developed by former Superman writer Whitney Ellsworth, very much embodied the many elements of the Man of Steel fans have come to love, including his origin story, his weakness to kryptonite, and his dual identity, with Reeves giving a near-perfect performance as both Superman and Clark Kent. Despite this, Reeves struggled both financially and personally, unable to find other roles to commit to after the show was cancelled in 1958, partly due to how closely identified he became as Superman. Reeves ultimately committed suicide on June 16, 1959, only days before the actor was to be married. While many believe there is a larger conspiracy regarding Reeves' death, this became the first fatality of the Superman curse and subsequently popularised the theory.
When it comes to live-action Supermen, the first name that comes to mind for most will still be Christopher Reeve. Reeves' Superman of the late 1970s and 80s perfectly encapsulates everything right and just about the character. While Reeves' take on the Man of Tomorrow is still considered by many to be one of the most iconic roles in cinema, the actor struggled, like those before him, to escape from typecasting. Even more unfortunately, the actor was paralyzed from the neck down after a horse riding accident on the 27th of May, 1995, and was confined to a wheelchair. Reeve later died on October 10, 2004, at the age of only 52.
Furthermore, there are many other people who are considered to be victims of the Superman curse, who, although didn't portray Kal-El, were involved in a variety of projects for the character. The most notable though have to be that of Superman's creators Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. The pair sold the rights to Superman over to DC Comics in 1938 for just $130 and spent decades trying to claim back royalties and rights that they felt they were owed by the company. While never quite gaining the rights back to Superman, they were awarded a lifetime pension of $20,000 a year by DC in 1976 and were credited in all works featuring the character onwards. Regardless, the pair spent much of their adult life fighting in court to reclaim their creation, and although Shuster passed away in 1992 and Siegel later in 1996, their family and heirs still campaign for copyright today.
The 1940s Superman cartoon series produced by the Fletcher Brothers was one of the most influential and impactful in the genre's history, influencing everything from Batman the Animated Series to the art stylings of Alex Ross. The Fletcher Brothers had previously created such cartoon series as Popeye and Betty Boop and seemed like the ideal candidates to produce a Superman cartoon, and while they did do just that, it wasn't accomplished without a lot of problems behind the scenes. Shortly after bringing Superman to life, the men behind the studio, brothers Max and Dave, began feuding with one another, and this resulted in the studio losing money fast, to the point to where they were forced to sell the company to Paramount Pictures, which in turn ousted the pair from the studio. While Dave later found work as a special effects advisor for Universal, Max sadly died in poverty.
But while this does sound like Superman is very much a poisoned chalice, and anyone who dares attach themselves to the property will definitely suffer, this isn't exactly the case. Several actors have managed to play Superman and not find themselves cursed. For instance, Dean Cain, Brandon Routh, Tom Welling and Henry Cavill have all had successful careers. While it's true that some genuinely sad and unfortunate things have happened to people who have worked on Superman projects over the years, Superman is one of the most popular and long-standing characters in fiction, and he's had a lot of adaptations over the years, and of those adaptations, 99% of people who worked on them have been largely fine. It's just the unfortunate few who make the headlines, what can mostly be attributed to just bad luck. But if that's the case, then why do so many people believe the curse exists? I think the real problem isn't so much the actors or the studios, but just the nature of the character itself. Superman is such an iconic role that it's understandable that audiences would come to see you as Superman if you've played the role for a significant period of time. He's such a beloved character across the world that he almost casts a looming shadow over the actors playing him, and in many ways the character becomes much bigger than the actor. While you are seeing Christopher Reeves, Kirk, Alyn, Brandon Routh, George Reeves, Henry Cavill, etc., you're always seeing Superman instead. Sadly, even when they happen to be playing someone else. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. This was a lot of fun to make. I want to give a special thanks to Jay Parks from FancyTeeth for helping me out today. There will be a link to his channel in the description and also somewhere on this page you see right now. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel for new bi-weekly videos like the one you're watching right now. There are some more videos on screen that you may enjoy. If you enjoyed this one, you can support the channel at patreon.com/OwenLikesComics, and you can follow me on Twitter at @OwenLikesComics. I'll see you guys next time. So until then, take care and keep reading.